It's a Friday where I am. Very well could be a Friday where you are too. And so I got a bunch of stuff to talk about, primarily things I got in the mail. And I'm going to tell you something at the end of this video that once I show it to you, you won't be able to unsee it. But what's weird about it is I've been doing these videos now for 9 years, and no one's ever pointed it out. Despite the fact that people point out the most picayune things that they see on video. And so the fact that there's something that I'm going to show you in today's video that I do in almost every single video, the fact that nobody has spotted it, called it out, blows my mind. So I am going to point it out at the end of the video. And like I said, once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it. But first of all, I got to thank Paul, because Paul sent me one of these things that holds money, and he sent me a whole stack of $100 bills. Whole stack of them. Now, did I sell something to Paul? No. Do I know Paul? No. It just says enclosed $1,000. But this is cool. These are the movie prop dollars. So it says, instead of United States of America, it says motion picture purposes. And then underneath the 100 on the left, it goes motion picture purposes. And then on the back, it says, in props we trust. Now, these actually look really, really good. These look accurate. So if I were to put one like right there, and I don't know, another one right there, and another one right there, and another one right there, you'd probably go, Steve, there's a whole bunch of hundos behind you. And I'd say, yeah, but believe it or not, you would know if it was in your hand, because it's actually very plasticky feeling. So that does feel wrong, but it looks oh so right. It's even got the stripe in it. So I can see, because I've heard stories about people passing these, I can see somebody being fooled by this and then not figuring it out, especially if it was in a stack of other bills. So it got blended in and somebody just fanned it like this and said, oh, there's a bunch of $100 bills. If one of these was in the middle, you just think, oh, that's just a new one versus an old one. So Paul, thank you very much for sending those. I greatly appreciate it. One of these days I might put a whole stack of them on the set while I'm doing my regular show. And then I got just yesterday's mail, a package, and from a guy named Marcus. And there's a long story here that goes several pages, single-spaced, and he talks about the history of some of the native tribes and their license plate systems, and about how they can issue license plates. And he says that because, number one, he has got a huge license plate collection, but many of them are from tribal authorities. And so this one right here obviously says lawyer. It was a personalized plate or a vanity plate issued by the nation, right? So that's pretty cool. So I'll work that into the set behind me. But he told me that these Native American license plates issued by the various tribes are extremely rare and valuable. I did not know that. But then as soon as he said it, I realized, like, wait a second. There is an entity in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan that issues these, and I've seen them referenced with the reservation. And I've seen these cars on the road in and around that area, but nowhere else. And so I'm curious to know how hard it is to get my hands on one of those. So I'm going to be looking into that. But he mentions it. He actually says you might have heard about the QAnon ones, and he goes, they're hard to come by. He sent me a photograph of a couple he's got in his collection. So again, Marcus sent me this plate. Is it Marcus? Yes, Marcus sent me this plate. Thank you very much. It'll go up on the set. And by the way, I've also mentioned, and I'm not going to mention it too many more times until the time comes, but I've ordered another car, and the car should be here in June or July. And when the car gets here, I got to plate it. And I've already decided the plate is available. So I'm very excited because, number one, I'll have a new car, but number two, I'll have an interesting plate, and I'll get 2 copies, the one that goes in the car and an extra, and I'll put the extra one behind me. And I think people will get a kick out of it. So finally, what I'm going to tell you is a story that quite often I'm talking and I go like this with one hand. I often go like this with the other hand. And what I often do is I tuck that pinky under like that. Okay? I almost never go like this. I almost never go like this and then go like this. I almost always go like this and then go like this. And see the pinky's tucked under. It's like a magic trick. And the funny part is I never do it with this hand because quite frankly, I'm not that coordinated with my left hand. I can't do that with my left hand because this finger wants to follow it. And then if I go like that, I can do it, but it's difficult. So you might go, but wait, Steve, why is it so easy to do with that hand, but not with this hand? And why do you do it at all? Just to bug people. No, when I was a little kid, I've mentioned before, I've got 5 older brothers. 5 older brothers. Yes, we can all see it together. Your poor mother. Okay, so 6 boys in the family. 6 boys, I'm number 6. So I am the youngest of 6 brothers. And when I was quite young, 2 years old, 3 years old, I don't know the exact time frame. There's some mystery about this in my family because I think people don't want to admit who it was. But when I was quite young, just getting to the stage where I could probably stand up on my own 2 feet, there was a whole raft of little kids running around in the living room of a house where we all lived at that time. My father was at work. And my mother said to somebody, keep an eye on Steve. Don't want him getting into trouble. Because I was the one at that point in time who was the youngest and most likely to get into trouble at that time. Somewhere along in this storied event, I decided that I wanted to get up and go for a stroll. And I headed over towards the door, and apparently the door was open, but the screen door was closed. And I was walking towards the door, and one of my brothers, and I think I know which one it was, but it's possible that the other brothers framed him. But one of my brothers saw me heading towards the door, ran over, grabbed me by the arm, and started pulling me, probably with this hand, pulling me, and then swung the door shut. And I reached out with this hand and actually managed to get my hand partly on the door frame, and the door hit my pinky, just my pinky. And now you're not going to see this on camera, but just trust me in this one. I would never lie to you about such a thing. But there is a scar on my pinky that starts right there and goes all the way up around to there. That scar has been there my entire life. It's not terribly noticeable right now, but when I was a little kid, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, I would show it to people. Look at that. My finger got chopped off in a door. Ooh. It didn't get chopped off, but I mean, it got cut badly. And I was taken to the doctor, and they did do something. I don't know if it was stitches or just bandaged and wrapped up in a way that a little kid couldn't undo it. But a doctor did look at it. But the problem, of course, is it happened when I was at such a young age that now, see, all my fingers are fine except for this one, okay? So that is the best I can bend it. And so for some odd reason, when I go like this pinky naturally goes out like that. When I go like this pinky does not. I think it's this pinky's way of defending itself for fear it's going to get caught in another door. But I actually had this thought occur to me about a week ago that I should mention this in a video. And ever since I mentioned it in my own head, and I mentioned to somebody else I was going to do this video, I've noticed every time I do this, and it's quite often that I do that. So going forward, as I like to say, on the main channel and here, you're going to see in videos that I do where occasionally I talk with my hands and I tuck that finger under like that, and I do it with this hand and I don't. This hand and I do. And I'm not doing it on purpose. Now, if you say, Steve, could you on purpose do that? Oh, yeah, I can. But I have to think about it because the natural reaction is for me to go like that. That's the natural way if I am not consciously thinking, extend all your fingers, Steve. So if you said, Steve, hold up 4 fingers, I can do it. But if you say, wave your hands, that's what happens. And if I tell myself I can do it, naturally, like that. So there you go. Like I said, once you've seen it, I'm pretty sure you can't unsee it. And now, in the last week, as I've been editing videos, I'm like, ooh, there I did it again. So I hope you get the entertainment from it that I do. If nothing else, like I said, you won't be able to unsee it. So there you go. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.